Today we are going to learn how to draw the proportions of people. And the important thing to remember is that you're going to have your people be 6.5 to 8 heads tall. We are going to draw a person that's 8 heads tall just to make it easy for you. But when you're drawing a person in a live drawing class, you always want to measure them. We're going to make the person standing and with their arms straight down. We're going to start with the size of the head of the person so that you can make them fit on the page. We'll make their head an oval, and then we're going to take that size roughly and see how many heads tall we need to get to 8 heads, and then we'll put the parts in. All right, so we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, this will be where the waist is, 4, I'm guesstimating how the size is, but if you wanted to get really particular, you can measure it with your pencil and then make it exact. So we have 4, counting the head, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 heads tall. All right, now we all know that we use shapes. Everything breaks down to a shape, and we're going to make the shoulders the wider part of the triangle. Then we're going to make the waist inward, so the lower part of the triangle of the torso. So imagine if you were looking at a skeleton and you were looking at the rib cage. So we have the rib cage in here, and then we have the waist. Now we have the pelvic area, so that's kind of a square or a rectangle depending on the person. All right, and now this is where people usually make the legs too short on their figures. You're going to make your legs, the thigh, 2 heads long, and the knee is at the 2 heads down. And then you're going to make your calf and your foot touching right there. Oops. Let me get rid of that little bumpy bump there. Trying to make it dark enough for you to see. And then we're going to do the same on the side. The thigh is 2 heads down. The calf and foot is the other 2 heads. I'm going to make 1 foot sideways so we can look at it sideways and in front. Okay, and then we know that we have the thighs and the pelvic region here. Okay, so now we have our figure mapped out and it fits on the page. Now let's look at the arms. We know that the elbow bends at the waist. So we're going to know that our elbow is here. Okay, and then our thigh, halfway down is where our fingertips will be if the person's hands are straight down. So this is where their hand would be, and then this part is their forearm. So sometimes it's easiest to work your way backward. If you know where the hand's going to be, and then you can look at the forearm backward. Now when you're drawing a real person, pay attention to how much space is in between their arm and their waist, because sometimes drawing the negative space is helpful for you to get the positive space, what you are drawing right. So now we have our figure, and what we then will do is to go through and then take off the sharp corners of their shoulders, round them out. We're going to decide what kind of clothing they're going to wear, what their neck is like. I'm going to put a hoodie here, so I'm going to put a bigger thing around the neck here. And then we're going to make the hips wider or narrower. You get the idea. Make our pants. And remember when we did the video of faces, that will be for you on another video, so check that out when you're done here. But we're going to make our curved halfway down mark. Our nose will be halfway from there, and our mouth will be halfway from there, and that's our roadmap for our face. And then you can fill in what you want the hair to do and so forth, and the eyes, and all that jazz. Okay, so we've mapped out our figure. Here's an example of one shaded. In our next video, come back and we're going to draw the proportions of people that are seated. So go take a look at that video next. All right, see you there. Hey, I also want to show you what this looks like on an iPad. This is from Jookstock. What I've made for you is this example of using the head to measure down all of the heads tall that the figure is. So as you can see, the larger head that's off to the side here is where you get yourself into trouble if you are planning on having enough room for a full figure and it doesn't fit.